Hello and welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds, where it's Steve's cooking channel today again. Yeah. Um, as promised, I did the video on Pancit Palabok. It's undergoing editing, and there's a couple things preparation-wise you're going to want to do, and it'll become obvious in a couple of minutes why I'm doing this as a separate video. Part of it's time. And the other part of it is, well, like I said, you'll see. So if you're squeamish, you, you better not watch this. Okay, we're gonna clean and shell shrimp today, and some people don't like that idea. They don't like to see the heads. Um, this is for a Filipino dish. Filipinos, like many Asians, they'll often cook the shrimp whole, head and all. I'm going to do a bit of that just so you can see it all. It makes for a beautiful presentation, although might turn some people off who are the only shrimp they ever see are curled up on the side of a glass with some horseradish tomato sauce in the middle of it and lettuce. Call that shrimp cocktail. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. And if you're just tuning in and not viewing this as part of the Pancit Palabok recipe video, it might sound kind of strange, eating shrimp and hard-boiled eggs. But these two things go into that dish, and they're both techniques you can use separately. So there we go. All right, so without further ado, we're not going to need a lot of stuff here. I'm going to fill up a good-sized pot here with regular water. We're fortunate here in Canada. We have good tap water. There is some chlorine in it. If you're that concerned about that, then you can put it out in a pot and cover it lightly with some cheesecloth or a food can. And in 12 hours or so, all the chlorine will have evaporated away. Some places also have fluoride. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. I grew up with fluoride. Hardly ever had cavities, etc., etc., etc. It's not stealing our vital essence, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. Oh, is it Colonel Jack Ripper? Yeah, I think he was a colonel or a lieutenant colonel. Anyways, yeah, stealing our vital essences. It doesn't. It's good for you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like trace amounts, and it promotes good teeth and dental health. So lots of places don't have it anymore. I'm not going to say any more about it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start here. Yeah, I'm going to start here. Now, I had mentioned in a previous video, I'm going to change the angle here now that I'm done with my intro. One of my friendly commenters, one of my friends, had said it would be nice to see my face more. I'm not sure why, but anyways. So I guess it makes the video more engaging. Anyways, so okay. And as I was starting to say in a previous video and in previous videos, I had said usually when you're going to boil water, you want to add the salt after it's boiled. But in this case, we're going to add it first, and I'll show you why. Okay, so that goes there. The recipe for pancit palabok, which I'll talk about in a minute, it serves 4. So we'll be hard boiling 4 eggs, beautiful eggs. If you can, take them out of the fridge early and have them come up to room temperature, unless it's really super hot wherever you are. In which case, yeah, when they're at room temperature, it's not such a shock when they go into the water. But I'm going to show you a technique that kind of mitigates that anyways. But if you are just taking them right out of the fridge, and you should rinse them anyways, just run them under some warm water for a little bit. And like I say, you should be rinsing them. You don't have to scrub them, but yeah, you should be rinsing the eggs off and rubbing them down, because you never know what's sticking to the shell there. Okay, so again, with the food safety, wash hands first. Soapy water or antibacterial soap. Let's give this a swish so that salt dissolves. And get this out here. We'll need a nice big spoon. And, oh, we're talking about hard boiling eggs today, but I'll give you a tip here. I'll just move this like this. How's that? There. I'll give you a tip about poached eggs. You know, you can't go anywhere, any kind of place that serves breakfast, even dinner, and they got Eggs Benedict on the menu. So it used to be, you went into a restaurant, you asked for a poached egg, they looked at you like you were from some other planet. And actually, yeah, I mean, at one point I remember somebody saying to me, you know, if you ever really want to pee off the restaurant, go in and order poached eggs. Anyways, especially if it's like a greasy spoon or whatever. So, okay, poached eggs. And this comes from Julia Child, a very famous French chef and an extraordinary woman. If you don't know about her life, look it up. She is unbelievable. She actually worked with the French Resistance during the Second World War, and I believe that's where she met her husband. He was an intelligence officer, I think. Anyways, so and of course she brought classic gourmet French cooking to millions of American households, and made it accessible too. So, anyways, Julia Child, Child, check her out. She's gone now, but you know, her legacy lives on. Okay, so yeah, poaching the eggs. So what you want to do is, and you can do this. You can do this ahead of time, and actually it's better. You bring up a pot of water like this to boil, and I'm gonna put this down now. Bring up a pot of water like this to boil, and once it's a rolling boil, which is otherwise known as a heavy boil, oops. I warned you about drinking before the show. Hang on. All right, so yeah, now we've got the camera department dealt with. Apologies for that. Okay, so what you do is you bring a pot like this to a rolling boil, and I would probably do 2 at a time. And what you do is you take a spoon like this, and you plunk it down in the water. And you let it continue to boil, because that's why you want it at a good boil. You don't want it to stop boiling and then have to bring it up to boil again, because then you might as well just hard boil it, okay? So you want a good heavy rolling boil, and gently lower it in there. 2, and continue to boil for 1 minute. That's it, 1 minute. Then you take them out and put them in an ice water bath if you've got that, and if you don't have that, then just ahead of time you can put a bowl of water in the fridge or the freezer if there's space. Just make sure it's nice and icy cold, and then you plunge the eggs into there, and what that does is it congeals the eggs just enough. It doesn't really cook them, it just kind of congeals them. And so when you do go to crack your egg and put it in the poaching water or liquid, whatever it happens to be, it doesn't fly all over the place. It's like already nice, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So, anyways, Julia Child, brilliant woman. Okay, so we've started this to bring this to a boil. And for these hard-boiled eggs, we are not going to wait for it to come to a full boil. And I'm going to put it in a spoon here. And, you can do this when the water starts to get, when you start to see the bubbles on the bottom of the pot. Okay? And then you don't just dump it in there. You want to swish it around. And there you go. And drop it down gently. And what this does 2 things. First of all, it keeps your eggs from cracking when you put them into the hot water. And it's not that important, especially if you're just going to smush it up into egg salad or whatever. But if you're doing hard-boiled eggs, you want the shells to remain intact. So there we go. And and also by putting them in before they actually come to a boil, they tend to cook much more easily and much more gently. So there we go. So I'm going to put that lid back on just for a minute. Don't need this right now, so put it aside. Okay. And you just kind of swirl it around. And you'll start to hear the rumbling when they come up to a boil. And for hard-boiled eggs, you don't want to boil them too violently. So you want to bring them up to a good boil, and then turn down your heat so you just have a nice kind of steady boil. Yeah. Okay. Now, on to the main event. And first I'll talk a little bit about the, you'll probably want to look at me rather than the shrimp, so I'll adjust it again. Pansit palabok. First of all, this is the way we do it here. My wife's from the Manila area, on the island of Luzon, the biggest island. But the Philippines is actually more than 7,000 islands. So there's a vast array of regional cuisines. And but most of it is, turn that down now. Most of it's based on, yeah, well, I'm not going to say based on. It's heavily influenced by Spanish cooking. It was a Spanish colony, King Philip, same guy who sent Columbus. Um, that's why it's called the Philippines. And so, I'm not saying this is the way to cook it, okay? This is the way that we do it, this is the way that we like it. As with any other kind of cooking, do your own thing, all right? So we've got these boiling now, and now that they're boiling steady, we want that to continue for 5 minutes, about, and I'll talk more about that after. And so pancit is the, that's Pancit, is the Filipino, their language is called Tagalog, Filipino for noodle. Yeah. And palabok is actually a type of noodle that they use. It's a rice noodle. But we're not going to use those in our pancit palabok because I have yet to find them. Maybe in a specialty food store in California or something like that, but I haven't seen anything up here in Canada. So, excuse me. So, anyways, I just use a Thai rice noodle, 3 millimeters wide. If you don't like rice noodles, they can be a little difficult to work with. You can get away with linguine for the palabok. So, obviously, like many Asian cultures, they've got all sorts of different kinds of noodles. And many based on rice, some based on wheat, some based on cornstarch. So, if you're that into it, then, but yeah, I mean, they have their own, but basically, you can easily get substitutes that people use in the Philippines as well. So, oh, and the other thing I was going to say was when I recommend or promote a particular product, whether it's the garlic chips or the olive oil or whatever the case may be, I don't get any kind of compensation for that. The only reason I do that is because they're products that I like and I trust. So, I never expect anybody to, I don't do this channel for money. It's not monetized. It never will be. I have no interest in that. And so, anyways, yeah, so that's the deal there. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, okay, and here's the time when the squeamish folks had maybe better skip to the actual recipe video. So here we go. Ta-da! Shrimp. Look at these shrimp. Hey, we get them at Costco, and they're beautiful. As you can see, they're very large, and they're sweet and flavorful, and it's about $28 for 36 pieces. So less than $1 per big fat shrimp. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, for the palabok recipe, we use this, and then I also use bay scallops. They're just, I get them frozen in a bag. And you can do that with the shrimp if you want, already cleaned, cooked, whatever. Then you just toss it in the sauce near the end, just long enough to warm it through. Nothing wrong with that. It's great. But yeah, if you want to do the fresh ones, then Okay, now, first of all, I'm not a chef. I'm a good cook. You know, even my mom said I'm better cook than steak. But anyways, uh, many might not agree. In any case, I'm sure there's other ways to do this. This is how we do it. This is how I learned from my wife to do it. And I'll tell you, she's Filipino, and oh boy, she can clean shrimp like me. But anyways, so here we go. Here's our beautiful little sea bug, and he's you know, isn't he cute? Yeah. Okay, and so you find the collar here at the back of the head, and you bend and pull. Okay. Now, for Filipinos and many Asians, this is gold. They love the heads. And, you know, they'll often cook the shrimp with the heads on. You know, steamed or whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, so, where did I put it? It's over here. Okay. So I have this little knife that I use for my plastic models, and you can use any kind of small paring knife, but and my wife just does this by hand, and you can do it too. But what you want to do is you want to get under the skin there where the legs are, and split that. Okay, and then you just peel this back. Can you see what I'm doing there? This can go in the water, it's no big deal. And there's probably some kind of quote-unquote shrimp knife you can get if you really want to. And of course, if there's any issue at all about shells, then you know, you want to make sure that you get all of these off. We usually leave the little tail on if we can, but sometimes it won't cooperate. This one's not cooperating. So you can just pull this right off. So you take that back. There. And there you go. You have a beautiful shelled shrimp. Okay, those have been going for a good 5 minutes, maybe even a little longer, but that's okay. Now they come off the heat, but I'm going to leave them in the pot. Okay. Oh, you're going to make it easy for me. Okay. All right. Can you see that? They call that the vein, but it's not a vein. It's the digestive tract of the shrimp. And most people don't want it. So I get my trusty little knife. What I do is, and I just run it down the pathway, not too deep, okay? And then you kind of just scrape it out, okay? Scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. There we go. Okay, so it's not too warm today, so I'm just going to put this in the bowl here. And we'll do the second one here. Okay, so once again, I hope you can see this. You find the collar, hook your thumb or your finger under, and pull. There. And if you pull and squeeze at the same time, the head with the other stuff will come out, and now you've got a nice, clean, headless shrimp. And again, we just find the the center there. So, and I mean, this is why a lot of people would like to use the frozen stuff. See now it's cooperating, it's coming out on its own. Anyways, you know, because they just don't want to deal with it. The other thing you can do is you can probably at your local fishmonger or seafood market, you can probably get pre-cooked big fat ones like this. And you just want to make sure that they were cooked the same day. Huh. Day old shrimp like day old sushi. Not one of my favorite things. There we go. Okay, if you want the tail to make it look nice, like unlike the last one that I did, you just take it down to here. So you've got this final bit of exoskeleton and then the tail. And again, it started the job for us, but we're gonna, there we go. And of course, if you were going to butterfly the shrimp, you would just cut it all the way, well, not all the way through, but down just to, you know, there we go. You know, just down to, well, just leave enough so that you can, so that it still holds together. Okay, so I'm going to pause now while I finish. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to get my frying pan. Excuse me. I'm going to get the frying pan and put it on medium heat. Okay. So we got 3 of these left. I'm going to do 2 of them just like this. So yeah, these 2 look to be more or less the same size. Okay, and so once again, here we go. Find the collar, hook your finger or thumb under, pull and squeeze, or squeeze and pull. There you go. And you know, you don't have to eat those heads. But what you can do is you can use them to make a nice little shrimp stock. If you have no problem with the seafood allergy. Oh, and here's a bit of trivia. The famous Florida pink flamingos everywhere. The reason they're pink is because they eat shrimp. And that's the color of the shells when they're cooked or digested. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that comes off. And again, just, there we go. Okay. I'll go wash hands and Okay, now with the eggs, they've sat there for a few minutes now. And what that does, it helps the eggs relax a bit back from the shell. Um, when uh, when they're in the boiling water, the boiling water is compressing against them, and so that's why you want to let them rest for a little bit before you put them in the cold water. If you put them in cold water right away, unlike for the poached eggs, if you put them in the cold water right away, then they're going to be all stuck to the little skin on the inside, and it's a pain. So yeah, just a little tip there. Okay, there we go. Our pan is hot. There we go. And this is a fast fry. You know, shrimp don't take very long to cook. So here we go. We're going to go 1, 2, just a couple tablespoons of this is canola. You're not frying at super high heat, so it's not like you need like peanut oil or anything. And when the oil starts to shimmer, then you know it's ready. So move these to the paper towel or the kitchen paper. These are going to go in the fridge because you don't want to. Okay. There we go. And always lay stuff away from you. And we'll start to see two things happen here. The shrimp will start to curl up. And it'll also start to change color. Turn on the light. Is that better? Lighting? Can you adjust that? That's better. Shadow's not so bad now. Okay, so can you see how they've started to change color on the bottom there? The ones in the shell will take a little longer. This one's curled right up, so that's ready to turn. The advantage to cooking them in the shell is you get the flavor out from all of it, and it actually kind of steams inside the shell. So it has a little bit different texture. So, if you want to do them whole ahead of time, either, you can saute them, you can steam them, you can, we don't usually, but you could boil them. Then you can peel them later. And then you just discard the heads if you're so inclined to, if you were at all inclined to eat the heads. Well, yeah, anyway, to each their own. And there we go. And you sure don't want to overcook these. They get rubbery. And it's actually okay for if you're doing the palabok, because they'll cook a little bit more, or you can cook them a little bit more. Okay, so they're still kind of squishy. So on that side's done. And so you want to get it just when it stops being squishy, and you start to feel a firmness to it. Okay, so there you go. Those will be for later. They go right straight in the fridge. And let's go. So thanks for joining me. Some simple lessons, but for take it for what it is. In a pinch, you could, well, near the end of the cooking, you just sprinkle on an herb mixture, or this is a garlic onion powder mix. Squirt a lemon, hope you have it, and off you go. Okay, so thanks for joining me, and if you were interested in the pansit palabok and how to clean shrimp, then it'll be on an end screen. If you're watching it just on its own, you found some of it useful. So thanks for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers. I really appreciate everybody's time. I know it's valuable, and I can't say enough. So I appreciate it. Hope you like what I'm doing here, and always welcome comments. So have a great day. Bye now.